All right, today we're going to talk about phonation, but phonation in a slightly different way, like how much and where does it happen, and get a little bit into the mechanics of phonation. Phonation is normally something that happens when you breathe, and if I breathe deeply enough, my pharynx will accommodate the vowels, and I'll go and all I did was take a breath. Boy, I breathe through my nose, down my back, way down into my lower back, and I keep the breath down like my buttocks are balloons, and I try to keep my breath very, very low. If I suck air down there and make any kind of traditional, like the traditional ones, or the Miller maneuver, which is now you can see where the vowels are when I do that. This is Franco Cavalli and Jerome Hines and Tibaldi and any number of singers I've known to do this. And when you do that, where's your phoneme? Where are your vowels? And really, it's a question. So I'm going, where are they? So if I sing like, how are you today? You can understand every word I'm saying, right? If I do one of the things that I love, a general thing, which is I got it from great singers, which was Bob, in order to close the nose. We don't ma 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 because it opens the nose and you end up singing nasal and the voice doesn't carry very well. It sounds pretty good in a room maybe, or on a recording, but it doesn't sound worth a darn in a big theater with a big orchestra. So we want to avoid nasality. Caruso said in this book, never sing into the nasal cavity. He said it's all the rule against every rule of song. Now, let's talk about what he talks about. If we talk about a bunch of singers that are always talking about in the back of the neck or something, Caruso said the A vowel is very far back and low in the throat. Well, what if I do that? How you today? I'm going to go down time to get something to eat. So my vowels are sitting right in the back of my neck. When I worked with Helge Roswell, he gave me a couple of exercises. One of them was a lip clamp, and you say all the vowels inside the lip clamp. So you go A, E, I, O, U. So I go where's my vowel? Where's my A now? So the resonance jumps forward, like everything that is an action has an opposite equal reaction. So I'm making an action backwards, somebody has to go up and forward. I mean, I should have said down and backward. So if I'm doing these things that people, great singers, said to do, and I do them, if I go, how about another vowel? How about eh? Now I'm on there. If I keep going, A, E, O, U, so the vowels are all in the back of my neck, and they're fairly far down because the pharynx sits like this in the throat. And when you breathe and take a deep breath, the pharynx goes even lower. It'll go like this. And it'll relax even more. So when you breathe, what Caruso called the massive power of the respiration required for great singing, if you breathe massively, if you can, what you do, you suck your whole trachea and everything, the larynx, everything goes down without muscular action up here. All the muscular action is in the lower back and in the ribs, way down low. So if I go, let's say I make one of those funny breathing noises that people like to do, this, and they call that a Muller maneuver. It has a name and it's got vowels. If you say the vowels, where are they? the breath exercise that Richard Tucker gave me was to snore. So you snore, you go, and you think way down at the tip of your tailbone, and you go. Now I'm saying all my vowels, and where are they though? See? Every one of these breathing exercises and vocalises that I got from these great singers all affect the phonation. Very few of them ever mentioned phonation. Nobody ever used the word focus or soft palate. Nobody lifted the soft palate. You crazy? That would be crazy. That's making an action in the throat. And the first rule of singing used to be no action in the throat, jaw, or tongue, which means your tongue is loose, your jaw is loose, and your throat is loose. So you got to do something somewhere else. The rule was you had to do something somewhere else. So if I do that, someone like Franco Corelli actually stole something from Caruso. Caruso talks about if you hear someone in his book, he talks about if you hear someone using a glottal stroke, it means it's too far forward in the throat. So you have to go behind the glottal stroke, right? And Corelli made a whole technique out of that. So he would go like this, and then he started backing up and going, Now I'm behind the glottal stroke. It's not in my nose. The resonance is way up here, right? There's a danger if I go, not only gets whiter and blatty and loses color and all kinds of things, but it can also end up damaging the vocal cords. Because we shouldn't be singing so far forward, to use Caruso's reasoning. It puts you too far forward in your vocal cords, but too far forward in your throat. So another one would be something like, a lot of singers want to do hung, try to get that kind of forward resonance. Well, the trouble with that, if it's down here, it's completely out of place. Hung, it's all in the nose. If you do this, you have to go over it. Hung, you can do one up here. Hung, but not down here. So I'll do it up here. Oh, by the way, where are my vowels when I do that? The vowels are all sitting in the pharynx where they belong, and it works like a reflector and throws the resonance way up and forward in my head up here. So Lily Lehman describes the true mask, she said, goes from the eyebrows all the way over to the middle of the top of the head. So you had a mask about that big, and of course the voice to match, right? But now if I do something that's very forward, let's say I'm trying to really get forward. So I go yum 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 yum. Well, is that where I want my vowels? No, so I have to take a different approach to that. I go yum yum, and I look at the y, and why bother doing y? Anyway, except it's got a y in it. If I do ya, I get a big kick down in my diaphragm. So if I do that, I go yum 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 yum. Now my vowels are in the back again. My vowels are in the pharynx. So all I had to do was get diaphragmatic, and the vowels take care of themselves. You cannot place them. People think you should put the vowels forward. That's not the way it works. You put the resonance forward, not the vowels. The vowels are where they belong, which is in the pharynx. They just talk about the voice in four parts. The breath pool, the breath supply is in your lower back. And then the front of the breath of the air column is somewhere up here in the front. So that's your breath stop that you control your breath with. The third thing is your phonation. Phonation is in the back of the neck, up here. You never go, you never try to put a vowel up here in the front somewhere. It's not built that way. Pillars of the fauces closed, and the whole voice gets narrow. I remember Franco Corelli's master class, where he said, all the American want to sing it like a singer through the straw. So they go squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. You say he said Italians can't stand the nose. They hate the nose, and everyone medical singer won't sing in the nose. Anyway, the idea is if you pronounce words, if you just want to speak Italian, you give me a cup of coffee. Dammela tazza caffè. Dammela tazza caffè. Babies go and the vowels away in the everything natural. Every process that is natural puts the vowels in the back of the neck and the resonance up and forward, and that's what you want. If you do, let's say you want to say Lamberti's whole school of stai. Everything's like the ah vowel in the word stai. Did you fly a kite all night? Well, where do I say I? Think about it. My old teacher, Olga Ryss, used to call it the ego I. Where's the ego I? I'm here now. I'm the tenor. I'm the singer. I'm the lead. Where's the ego? So if I say that kind of thing, you got to go from, well, you can just make up. English is full of words that do that. So I can say, did you cry that you had a sty in your eye when I said goodbye? Did you have a pizza pie? You want a sharp knife so you can slice that pie. But the point is, the vowel is ah in the back of the neck. So Lamberti School sort of took over. They started writing different kinds of operas with more bloods and guts and all kinds of things, great big orchestras and everything. And people needed a different way to sing. The Garcia School was straight down in a very relaxed trachea and that you achieved by deep breathing. So you breathe way down your lower back. Some singers snored when they did it. But the point is that you suck it way down and you don't open them sideways at all. You don't open anything. You go like this, straight down and go. So you hear some of the big, heavy, dramatic voices singing that way. Especially older music. I remember, Laurits Melchior. Melchior that's what he sang, and he would reinforce. He'd go, hello. Now, where are my vowels when I do that? Hello, how you never go downtown, you can still understand all of my words. But where are the vowels then? See? I get a response down in here. Hello, hello, right? And when I do that, it makes my trachea relax and go down like that. My larynx goes down, everything goes down because I'm kicking everything in the diaphragm from my lower back. So I go, hello. Now, if I sing there in that phonation, we'll call it that. Hello. Now, he basically sang only the heavy, the greatest Helden tenor that ever lived, so he only sang really heavy music, so he didn't really have to say sty, did he, right? If I do, I don't know, something like Rigoletto, I go, Lord, never be like what you manifesto, it's out of my nose. My vowels are here in the pharynx, and the resonance is there, and it's what the Italians call chiaroscuro, clear dark. If Melchior, well, actually, I heard a few recordings of him singing this kind of stuff. And when he did, it sounded like, I don't know, fantastic voice, but grandpa singing his grandchild's music or something. So it sounded like that. See what I did? And all of a sudden my voice gets, I will confess that I used that a few times, and I sang it for Melchior, and he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm imitating you. He says, you must not try to do what I do, but I must not try to do what you do. So you're a lyric tenor, big one, a big lyric tenor, but you're what they call in Italy, lyrico forte, strong lyric, but you are not a Helden tenor. Of course, I'm absolutely in agreement with that. When I heard him, I said, well, that's the end of that. But you've got all these things. Let's say I do a pre-cough. I'm going to cough except I'm not going to complete it and I'm not going to let you hear the end of it. I'm going to do what I do right before I do that. So the pre-cough is I build up air pressure against here and then release it. So I'm not going to release it. I'm going to hold it there and go, where did it put my vowels? Where are my vowels now? So everything you do is going to affect your phonation. You must always ask yourself, where are my vowels now? Somebody said, oh, go yin, 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 yin. Where are my vowels now? It's horrible what that sounds like. Just face it. Yet people learn to do it. They do it for years practicing that sort of thing. Why? Why would it sound so terrible? And somebody's got these singers convinced, no, this is the correct way. No, it's not. You know? I heard Gerard Souzet sing a concert in New York, and I saw my teacher the next day, and I said, you know, Souzet's a wonderful singer, a beautiful singer. It's just a pity his voice is kind of ugly. It's kind of nasal. It doesn't sound good. But he's a wonderful singer. He makes every phrase. And she said, my boy, let me tell you something. The old school of bel canto was, without beauty of tone, there is no singing. That is not singing. That is organized noise. And singing should not be organized noise. Singing should be something beautiful and musical and something that shows your heart and your soul and your intellect. And she went on and on. The point is that if I do something, let's say I'm able to get the notes, if I go, but it sounds terrible. So the idea is to try to find a way of phonating vowels so that the language, you know, I mean, they talk about how now round cow and the Spain and the rain in Spain says mainly in the plain, and there are all these ways that you're supposed to make vowels so the voice will sound good and carry. The when I was in London, I looked around and found out a few things. The one thing was, if you go to study to be a Shakespearean actor, at the old Vic School, the first thing you do is this. And now you have to stay like that and practice speaking all the time until somehow you gain enough space at the back of your neck. You develop literally room back there to pronounce all the words. And after a while, you can pronounce the words like that. You can sing, you know, to be or not to be. That is the question. Now, to keep it from looking weird, you do this. To be or not to be? That is the question. But you're still back there in the pharynx. And this is one of the basic exercises they used to do for opera singers. People want to sing classical music and need to project over a big orchestra in a big theater. Well, you want to learn to project. That's why the Shakespearean students all do it. Is so the voice will project in live theater without microphones. So if you do this kind of stuff and you see there's all these possible, I got a list here, you wouldn't believe the people, wouldn't believe what I've got here. But let's say you want to hide your laugh. You're trying to hide your laugh in a place where you should not be laughing. You don't want anybody to see you laughing. So you sort of hide it. You're going, they might hear it, particularly if they're close to you, but they can't tell who's doing it because they can't see you. So when you sing like that, what do you do with your vowel? So if I hide my laughter, my vowel goes back again and back in the pharynx. See, ha 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 would be opening out. It's a different kind of sound, very bladdy type sound, and you want to make, if you can, you want to make a sound that picks up the overtones of the air in your lungs. In other words, drums, as they used to tell me, the bigger the drums, the bigger the sound. So if I can get my drums to vibrate and make overtones, my voice gets not so blatty and ugly, and goes, so I can either say, how are you today? Or I can say, how are you today? If I say, how are you today? And I want to go to the high note, how are you today? How are you today? I can't do it. I'm choking. I have no high notes. So for go from the low note to the high note, I have to do something. Now people like to cover, lift the pen, and turn the breath, and that breaks all the rules of bel canto. Rule number 1, no action in the throat. And rule number 2 was no disturbance of the emission of the breath. The emission of the breath must be undisturbed and even. So if I go la ho, I broke every rule. I did I made a lot of action, and that action causes my emission to get wrecked, not just disturbed, but hoo-ha, right? But if I can go la la, now I can achieve the high notes without disturbing the emission, without disturbing. If I'm playing the violin only on a down string and sustained, that's the way I should play. That's the way I should sing everything. Some people really like that big covered sound, but it breaks all the rules of classical artistic singing. It's like almost like a clown imitating a singer when they do that. Anyway, so we have laugh and cry, and then I was thinking about Rotsinger before. He told me the lip clamp. He also told me the chimpanzee, which was this one. You hear the vowels. I'm making all the vowels while I'm sucking in there against this resistance of my vocal cords, sort of half-closed vocal cords. I'm going. Now, where are my vowels when I do that? Here's a guy that sang all his life. He was a phenomenal singer, sang 7 days a week, 3 times a day, and never had a vocal problem in an entire career. I met him when he was 69. He had a voice like a house. But how was he singing? Like that, but short. I'm 85 now. I still use that when I sing. It's very protective of the voice. You can gets right on the vocal cords, and first you got this kind of blatty kind of resonance. And a lot of people think that is the kind of resonance to look for. Or this one, or sliding down the tongue like a ski slope. They all sound ugly, folks. They've got no overtones in them. They're blatty and ugly. Anyway, so now we've got another one. Let's see what my timer is. That's 20 minutes already. Yeah, we're getting there. I don't want to bore you too long here. Tetrazzini did what she called mini puffs. They weren't puffs at all, but she did something like this. According to when I got to New York in '58, there were a lot of people who had sung small parts with her. A lot of chorus people who heard her vocalizing backstage all the time. And her main vocalist was this one. Which is somewhat like the chimpanzee, except that it's not voice. When you don't use the vocal cords, you go maybe a little bit. Right? So they all work one way or another. I got some singers who they not only work, but they were some of the greatest singers in the world. Some were historical, absolutely. We have this Miller maneuver is the one where instead of the chimpanzee interrupting all the time, you sustain it. That was Corelli and Jerome Hines, and singers that used it a lot would go. Now where are the vowels when I do that? Where are the vowels when I do that? See? And both those guys had fantastic voices. I mentioned Corelli and Jerome Hines. Lord mercy, they had such big voices and wonderful voices. Wonderful. What can you say? If you do the tongue trill. So I go and I go A-E-I-O-U. Where are the vowels? Where are the vowels? Where are they? It's interesting, isn't it? Even if you don't like this, it's still interesting, right? If you do one of those big crescendos that starts with nothing, a little teeny sound, you go. Now you got to find out where that one is. Where are my vowels now? Where are the vowels? Good in every vowel. And you practice them, warm up, don't eat lunch like I just did before you do it. But that's the principle. The principle is that start the vowel tiny, way back there someplace where the vowels belong, and go. The vowels are sitting absolutely in the back of my neck. And the resonance is automatic because I took a breath away in my lower back. See? Then you got the hiccup. If I do the hiccup, I go, on vowels, I go, all right, where are they? My resonance is absolutely up here, buzzing away like crazy. Right? Twine ball, see? All that buzzing, all that singing. The resonance is, I don't know. Well, anyway, it's something to think about. Maybe my hair would grow back like, anyway. Then we got to smell the flower. Here we go. Don't get that pollen up your nose. Don't sniff. Go. So the idea is by smelling the flower, the back of my throat does this. And everything gets loose and soft and relaxed and goes down like that. And all of a sudden my vowels end up in my pharynx. Got it? So I go on all day with these saying, you know, you got all kinds of things, pre-sneeze, and you got head pulls. Remember head pulls? Remember this? That's if you want a brighter ah, it's in the back of the neck. If I drop it down a little bit and pull my neck, instead of back of my head, I do this. That's got more darkness in it. It's more chiaroscuro. And if I go way down and pull my upper back like this, I'll get. So now it's more dominated by the scudo. You can use all three. I've done it all. I've used them all. I used to do that one, you know, when I did Freischütz German music mostly. And really a lot of middle voice singing. I did Carnation Popeye, I did Nero, things like that. And I would use this one. And really it makes a bigger megaphone, so you get a bigger, fatter sound. Not necessarily your best sound. Your best sound is somewhere, probably chiaroscuro, somewhere in the middle. But everybody's got their own ideas about what sounds good and what doesn't. You'll notice I never do this. You never pull your chin down. I used to have this friend who used to say, if you open the barn door, the cow will get out. I go, it's put all kinds of mouth resonance in the sound, and the sound does not carry near as well as this one, which is completely up here. You know, babies don't cry going, oh, 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 oh. You think how babies cry? When they cry because they want to be heard, right? Because God designed them to have a way to call us for what we're doing. I mean, I've had 4 of them. And you go, la, la, la. All it's been is about make your lips like a trumpet. Well, that's all nonsense. We're not trumpets. Let's face it. You know, that's like telling a baby, no, baby, you're crying wrong. You can't go, ah, ah, ah. You have to go, oh, 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 to be heard. So it's a nonsense. This is all people that never sang anywhere and don't know anything. And I've sung 64 operas and about another 40 concert repertoire pieces that were monsters. A couple of them were monsters. And some of the operas were monsters. You have to get up and sing 5.5 hours and Mike's a singer. Are you really going to go for 5.5 hours? Think about it. So how do you really sing it? Like that. If you add the sigh, you get morgendlich läutet im rosigen Schein. Doesn't cost a thing. It's easy as pie. And I can get through a 5.5 hour opera and not be tired because I got to sing tomorrow night. German. If you get in the German system and you get established there as a, some kind of standard repertoire singer, you're going to be singing that all the time. And then anything you do out of regular repertoire is because you want to maybe do it for fun, artistic, whatever, something or other. But anyway, that's enough for that, and we'll stop with that one. You get the idea. I hope I've repeated myself enough that I hope everybody gets the idea. Okay? All right. Bye.